Cowabunga, dudes.
Pete, this is awesome.
Oh, Clark, hey. Good to see you among the living, man. Check it out. It's the latest talent mix.
Thanks, Pete.
Good to see you all among the living. Welcome to the Talon Mix. Thank you for joining us wherever you are right now. We normally record these live with a chat room, and you can join our Discord server to find out how and where you can get in on that. Head to the talonmix.show for more information. That's talonmix.show. I'm Brian, here as always with Zach. Zach, how you doing, man?
Wonderful. Good to see you among the living.
Good to see you among the living, my friend. We have a guest this week. You know him from the Cracked Movie Club podcast, and is the host of Canonball, also available on Cracked. Jesse Eisemann is here. Hi, Jesse.
Oh, wow. Hey, guys.
Welcome aboard.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. This is always a blast hanging out with you guys, talking weird, obscure 90s and early cinema.
Jesse, you are the first guest of the Talon Mix who has escaped having to watch Smallville. So we'll have to have you on again, and you will have to watch an episode of Smallville.
Well, I watched the whole series in preparation, so I would appreciate it if you asked me some questions about it.
Oh, great. Oh, no, I have some news. We're not talking about Smallville tonight. But before I get into what we are talking about, Jesse, tell everybody real fast about Canonball.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so Canonball is a series I make for cracked.com. However, it's actually on youtube.com/cracked. It's basically a deep dive into the weirder aspects of some of your favorite franchises. So some of the darker corners of very popular franchises, like the embarrassing stuff in various Archie comics, pilots, all kinds of weird stuff.
I believe you recently covered for fans of Smallville who do not listen to this show, but you've recently covered some manga adventures of Superman, where I believe
Absolutely.
Superman it's Superman's adventures eating Japanese cuisine.
Yes, it is it's an illustrated mukbang basically. It's just Superman using all of his all of his greatest powers just to go back in time and eat his favorite meal again, and gathering up his super pals and tricking them into eating a nice meal. It's
and that's
great.
What's important is that Smallville is a prequel to that. That is canon within Smallville lore.
Exactly. As a guy who just watched all of Smallville, yeah.
I also love State Arizona says, could TalkVille to this host an entire episode about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? Jesse, you may not know this, but the two of the stars of Smallville recently started their own Smallville rewatch podcast, and I'm gonna throw this out there. I'm enjoying it, Zach. We listen to it, we talk about it. I think there have been interesting insights. I think our show is better.
Oh, it absolutely is. Again, great job by them. I think they made the mistake of not recording an entire season before showing anyone their podcast.
That's true. That's always a good
what
move.
You and I did. You got to record an entire season, 24 episodes, and just have no one ever fucking hear it. And then you'll be really in the zone.
Exactly. And then you're ready to do a weird one. Like I said, normally we are here to talk about the 2000s WB/CW television series Smallville, but we've hit a third season 3 mid-season break, and we thought it would be fun to talk about something else.
Well, the true story is that I lost a competition barely because I had mercy on you.
Right.
Guessing the Talon Mix song titles. And
Talon Mix, of course, being the tie-in CD.
Yes, this
Smallville.
was your reward, is picking a movie for me to watch and for us to recap.
And so we are recapping the 1990 original, a hit movie. This movie it was the 9th top grossing picture of
Well, I wanted to say, you said this is a weird one. I don't think this is going to be much weirder than
It's
our normal.
not.
Normally we talk about anything but Smallville for 45 minutes before we start talking about Smallville.
And that's exactly what we're going to do here. Jesse, have you watched anything good this week?
Oh, no, my TV's been broken. I've been reading a lot.
Is that real? Are those
good?
real?
No, that's not true. No, I had the opportunity today to watch. Should I say it or do you guys say it? Are we talking about Teenage
No.
Mutant Ninja Turtles?
No. Genuinely, if you've seen anything interesting this week aside from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, we do know for real talk usually for a little bit about just whatever we watched
okay.
this week.
I was like,
this is a T-ball situation. Well, I mean, interestingly, I've been starting to rewatch the most recent season of Stranger Things. I have a weird relationship with Stranger Things. I love it and I hate it.
I feel like you've always been colder on it than everybody else.
Yeah, but it does a good job of kind of world building. You know, like it is a cool thing to revisit if you want to feel like it's Halloween again. And I think that's why I jumped back into it now.
It's Halloween again, and modern day kids are pretending to be in the 80s.
Yes, I mean modern day adults are pretending to be kids in the 80s. You know, they let these
didn't
kids
start out as adults though. It just took a long time to make the show.
Yeah. You know what's weird? Like old Hollywood, they would have had, you know, a dozen different ways to stunt the growth of their child actors, but now they just like
All these rules.
Yeah. They wouldn't have had this problem 100 years ago, I'll tell you that much.
Jesse, you actually have going back to Canonball. You have a great episode of that about some of the lore and strange conspiracy theories that inspired Stranger Things.
Yeah, thank you. I thank you for calling it great because I thought so. It got viewed by about 3 to 4 people, but
YouTube's brutal, man.
YouTube is brutal, but this is one of my favorite ones to research. So the whole thing is that like I didn't know about it, and I don't think it's well known that the Duffer Brothers created Stranger Things based on an actual existing conspiracy theory based around Montauk on Long Island. And originally Stranger Things was going to be called Montauk. So like everything that happens in Stranger Things from like you know, the supernatural stuff to now like the time travel and all that kind of stuff is all part of this like decades-long conspiracy theory. So so I dug up some interviews with some of the weirder dudes who have been pushing this theory for decades and how they've like tied it into like MK Ultra and all these other like heavy hitter conspiracy theories. And basically the conceit of the episode was predicting what's going to happen on Stranger Things in the next season or two before they wrap things up.
I haven't seen the latest season yet, so don't say anything that will spoil it.
Gotcha.
Now I know there's time travel.
Well, or is there?
It's
my fault for not watching it by now. But
Zach, you been watching anything?
yes, I watched The Empire Strikes Back. Which
You've been really making your way through.
Yes, I'm now have one movie left. I'll watch Return of the Jedi, and that will be all 6 Star Wars movies that have ever been made.
Zach, do you think Empire Strikes Back is as good as it's kind of perceived, or like does it deserve its place on the mantle as the best?
I actually do. I know we've talked about this many times. I know your views on Star Wars.
The film, the 1977 film Star Wars.
I'm not going to say the fake title. Star Wars, yes. And I've gone back and forth on which one's better, but I think they're both fucking fantastic. And I think Empire Strikes Back might be the best sequel ever made. It's so fucking good. I loved it. This time I loved it again. It's just great. Like, has anyone had more charisma ever in the history of man than Harrison Ford in those 2 movies?
Truly not.
Truly,
I don't think so.
But
I mean, you just brought up Watto.
That was off mic. That was
to be a contender. Oh, right.
So I texted you about this, Brian, when I watched A New Hope last week. And I'm way behind the curve on this one, but it was the first time I had seen the McClunky scene.
Explain McClunky real fast.
So George Lucas frequently, when he owned the rights to these movies before he sold them to Disney for $4 billion, he would frequently go back and change the old movies every few years. He did it in 1997. He did it in 2004 when the DVD came out. Then he did it in 2011 when the Blu-ray came out. And every time he makes a change, people lose their shit. Star Wars fans lose their shit about it. And something happened between the Blu-ray release and when A New Hope went on Disney, because they added one more fucking thing. And it was basically the scene where Han Solo shoots Greedo, which is the most controversial changes he's made.
Right.
George Lucas decided we need to add one more line, which is we need to add Greedo saying McClunky as he died.
McClunky.
Which is not McClunky. If you don't watch Star Wars, McClunky doesn't have any significance that I know. It doesn't mean anything.
No, it's babble. It's alien
Never
babble.
appeared before, has it? McClunky?
No.
So it can only be trolling by George Lucas, right?
That's the only answer.
That is the only explanation.
How soon until there's a Disney Plus series, mini series or otherwise, like about the McClunky files or whatever?
Yeah. I actually appreciate it because that scene he's changed 100 times and everyone's always upset. And if he's just like, fuck you, I'm giving it to Disney, McClunky. Take that.
Just upper decking the toilet on your last day in like living in the dorms or whatever.
Where do you think he got McClunky from? It was just some like word he coughed out. He's like, what's the most ridiculous sound?
But that also means like George Lucas like just fucking around does mean getting somebody into a studio booth. Unless this like audio file was already there. He had to call someone into Skywalker Ranch.
Well, no, he's like, look, I'm about to make $4 billion. I will give you $10,000 to come in here and say McClunky.
Now, do you think George was there himself in the recording just now? McClunky.
He's like, no, McClunkier. You got to go harder on it.
No, do it worse.
I don't believe you're McClunkying.
Anything else about Empire Strikes Back or Star Wars?
It's fantastic. I mean, there's nothing I can say that hasn't already been said. It's great. Sure. It's fantastic.
They should make more of them. Why stop at 6?
Totally. They should make more. Bring back the old cast. Maybe introduce some new people. I'm sure it will be great. And if they do that, they should make a trilogy and have no plan at all for what they're going to do and just hand it off to directors that are just going to contradict the director before them until it's over. I think that would be a great plan. I think they should
kind of riff a little bit.
I saw
improv.
I saw Jordan Peele's latest film, Nope. And my one-word review is nope. Which broke my heart. I was very excited. And actually, to be clear, it's too well made to be like quote unquote a bad movie. Like the imagery is so confident, the performances are so good. The script, I think, is a disparate whole bunch of ideas that don't conclude into anything sensible or interesting. I was very disappointed.
I haven't seen it yet. I'll check it out.
Yeah,
I haven't seen it either, but I saw somebody on Twitter described it as like the movie that like describes the horror of explaining an SNL sketch to your friend. Or of somebody explaining an SNL sketch to you. Does that make sense to you, Brian? As
a little bit, yeah.
Okay.
It's I think I'm in the minority on it. My wife did not. My wife liked it more than me, but we both agreed with each other's points. You know, it's if you were to watch and be like, it's great. I wouldn't blame you. It's a beautifully shot movie. But man, there's one sequence in particular that I would describe as haunting, but just doesn't add up. I left with more questions than I had feelings.
And perhaps was that not the point?
No, I want to feel shit, man. Not questions of like why did you do it that way?
That's kind of how I felt about his last one, though.
I'll say this: I had more fun with Us. I agree that Us is not Get Out, which Get Out is almost an unfair debut, right? Like, it's what a movie. Us, I had a really good time with, and then I had a little oh yeah, I guess that fell short in a couple places after. Nope, I was having them in the middle of it. Which isn't the time you want to have those.
No.
There's the Alfred Hitchcock would describe things as like the fridge door rule. of if you see a movie and you enjoyed it, and then later that evening you get out of bed and you head and you look into the fridge and then all of a sudden you go, wait a second, that thing in that movie didn't make sense. Doesn't matter, doesn't count. I got you in the moment. Doesn't count if you thought of it later. If I got you in the moment.
That's awesome. That's really super interesting because I
Right?
think of that sometimes with like a week or two of discourse after a movie drops and like people are already finding plot holes or inconsistencies or whatever. And it's not like the creators didn't know that those existed. It was just like they knew there was a finish line, and that's like the doors of the theater.
Right.
I mean,
exactly.
that's pretty much all of Christopher Nolan's output, right? It's like incredible first time experience, like theater experience, and then like the second time or third time you're like, wait, what the fuck? No.
right.
Like everyone loved The Dark Knight Rises when it came out. I still love it, but a lot of people are shitting on it now because it's like all these plot holes, and it's like, yeah, but like it looked really cool.
It was really fun at the time.
It
and
was
like
fun, yeah.
But nope, I didn't even get I was about the 45-minute mark. I was like into it, and then I'm like, oh wait, this maybe isn't working for me.
Yeah, you don't want to be checking the watch during the movie.
Right.
It's like if you feel your butt fall asleep, it means the movie's not doing its job. Like your butt's gonna fall asleep, but do you feel it or not? That's the question.
Right.
That was Alfred Hitchcock was saying that, but like from his deathbed. Everybody thought he was just kind of losing it. Come here. Did your butt fall asleep? Okay, all right. You know what? Maybe let's leave it. Let's go to sleep.
Jamie in chat says, Jordan Peele went to my college and now I feel like I have to see it. I will say Jordan Peele still is like one of the most exciting filmmakers out there right now. I think seeing Nope and discussing Nope is entirely worth doing. I'm not at all saying don't see it. I'm saying it didn't work for me.
10 Nope type movies that don't work before I will see one more fucking Marvel movie.
1,000,000%.
And I know it's so lame to criticize Marvel. It's like so 5 years ago, but the shit they were doing 5 years ago is like Citizen Kane compared to the shit that is coming out right now.
1,000,000%.
I didn't.
Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say I didn't really pay much attention to like all the like the news that dropped. All I saw was like everyone's just overwhelmed with like, okay, another phase, and you're gonna do the same thing over and over. Do you guys know enough about it to like hit me with like why it's annoying specifically?
I'm annoyed at as far as like the Marvel universe goes of like they just feel cookie cutter at this point, and compared to did you see Top Gun Maverick?
I did not.
I've seen that movie twice now in theaters, and there are several moments in that movie that are just like like the audience just cheered, which are all moments because what was happening in the movie was exciting. And like Tom Cruise pulls one out and everyone just starts applauding because like everyone's like gripping their seats and having a really good time with this movie and absolved in the fiction of the movie. Doctor Strange 2, I think, also has quote unquote several applause moments, and it's all because that guy was in a different movie.
Yeah.
Oh.
He's from a comic, I know.
I feel like there's like they use Easter eggs as a crutch. You know?
Yes, 100%. Which is just for opening weekend people, because it's all going to get out there anyway.
Do you know what Secret Wars is? What the hell is that?
It's a comic arc, but like it's a comic arc.
But we don't talk about it. It's a secret.
They need to fucking pump in some X-Men real quick because they are losing people. Like you paid all that money for the X-Men. Just
let's get some fucking X-Men.
Give us what we want. Although Brian, you did mention Top Gun Maverick, so we are now contractually obligated to talk about Top Gun Maverick for the next 20 minutes.
How good is that fucking movie?
So.
My last thought about Marvel is it's I think a really, really awful director's medium, and film is a director's medium. I think even the best of them, quote unquote, it feels like the director is going to get you McDonald's. So like Taika Waititi, it's his turn to go pick up McDonald's. It's Ryan Coogler's turn to go pick up McDonald's. Like,
Isn't
ultimately, at the end of the day, they're just coming home with McDonald's.
Isn't that what Ethan Hawke just said? That it's
Pretty
a
much.
great. They're very actor friendly, but they're not director friendly, or
Right.
something like that.
It's just it's the all of the action scenes are directed like by the visual effects houses, so they all just sort of feel like PlayStation cutscenes.
But I would say the first 3 phases or whatever. I didn't see all the movies. I saw probably 90% of them, and I would see them once and then forget about them. But I enjoyed them every time, pretty much, with a few exceptions. But I enjoyed the experience of watching them. These last few I've seen, ooh, I have not enjoyed.
Is this a good time to get into Smallville? I mean, a completely different comic book movie?
Yes, absolutely. This is a great time.
So what I think is interesting about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is kind of its weird fractured history. That's of course the movie we're talking about. It began as a very DIY independent comic. That it was they like made it kind of just for laughs. It was originally published by quote unquote Mirage Studios. Mirage being it was 2 guys in their living room in the apartment that they shared. And like one guy drew a turtle with fucking nunchucks and was like, haha, that's funny. So one guy drew another one with weapons.
Wasn't it like literally like the one of them was quoted as saying, "We were just trying to make each other laugh."
Exactly. And like they came up with a little story and they made a comic book. And they, I believe, borrowed $1,000 from one of their uncles, got however many issues printed that got, sold it at a local Comic-Con, and that funded enough to get a second issue out. It is literally a DIY indie comic that then a toy manufacturer or an agent was like, oh, I think we can get a toy deal on these, and they were like, yeah, sure, go ahead. Which cha-ching. The toy obviously was a huge success. The cartoon was to sell the toys because that was a thing of like there was a Reagan era thing that I think is a reasonable issuing of like, hey, you can't throw all of these advertisements during children's programming, which turned into, okay, what if we made the cartoon the commercial?
And in between, we'll sell them sugar.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, you can't sell them toys, but you can sell them sugar as much as you want.
But the Ninja Turtles cartoon was a 22-minute commercial for action figures, which was the bulk of the business. So eventually this movie comes along. And it is an independent production, and it's sort of a Eastman and Laird, the creators of the Ninja Turtles, are involved in it, and it sort of splits the difference. It takes sort of the broad stories of the comics, turns them into a feature, but also takes some of the stuff from the cartoons, the pizza, the multicolored bandanas, that helps you tell the turtles apart, because the comics were black and white. They were just, It didn't matter. On the covers, they just depicted them all with red bandanas, because once again, the comic was black and white.
And also, April is like in the comic, she's a reporter, or in the show, she's a reporter.
Right, she's a lab assistant in the comics.
Right, in the comic. Yeah. Brian, where did they film this movie? Was it Toronto?
It's a lot of North Carolina.
Oh, okay. I was like, it can't be really New York.
No, it's a lot of there's a couple of New York shots, but it's a lot of North Carolina sound stages.
Okay.
I really enjoyed the sort of the aura of like 80s New York that they captured, which is great. But there was a couple moments when I was really just like, this is not New York, man. Such as the climactic moment when, spoilers, somebody falls from all of like 3 stories.
Yeah, man, we will get into that. So we typically on these recaps, we run through beat by beat. We of course did not take our own notes. We are reading directly from the Wikipedia plot summary. I'm going to start
I
from
just want to say before we get started, Brian, I'm sorry. I told people that we were going to keep track of concussions. I gave up because, first of all, there's no way to confirm most of them, but it seems like there's probably upwards of 75 concussions in this movie. So I gave up. I'm sorry, everybody. Just there's a lot of concussions.
Many concussions.
Yes.
Okay.
0 Lex concussions. But
in New York City, television reporter April O'Neil is investigating what's dubbed as a silent crime wave of everyday items and luxury items such as televisions, radios, and truckloads of equipment being stolen out from their owners' noses. I have this opening committed. I can, for the record, I've seen this movie so many fucking times that, like, if you just plug a projector in my brain, I think I could will the movie onto whatever you're projecting onto. But that skyline, that opening narration, that
the montage. Yeah. As soon as I haven't seen this movie in a long time. But I had that experience when you see something that you haven't seen since like childhood.
Yep.
Where you're like, oh shit. As soon as that opening montage, the music hit.
Da-na-na-na.
Yes. I was like, oh yeah. Because in my head, I was like, is this the one that begins with everyone eating pizza that always made me want to eat pizza? No, that's Secret of the Ooze.
Yes.
This one begins with the crime montage.
Right. Sorry, go ahead.
Just immediately, it was like all the conservatives in my family were right. New York City is dangerous. There's crime around every corner.
I will already start with, like, I think I cannot objectively kind of review this movie. I just like it. I just like it a lot. I will say we have initial issues here with the tone kind of being all over the fucking place with there's bits where a delivery driver, he's got a truck full of packages. He turns back and, oh no, all the packages are gone.
What's the issue, Brian? There's no issue with tone.
Like, you know what? Actually, that feels a little bit like the way an actual comic or comic book might work. Because the narration had just said, oh no, like, delivery people all over the city are getting their shit stolen. And then this guy's like, oh no, my stuff got stolen.
You're not wrong. There's a lady sitting on the fire escape, and then a couple of hands take her TV away. Just like, hey!
I do appreciate that we see that montage, and then April's on the news talking about how there have been no eyewitnesses yet to all these crimes. And then she walks out of the fucking studio and sees them committing the crime.
I think it's unclear that these are Foot clans. These might just be your generic New York City muggers that are, of course, all over the place.
Imitation. These are not the real Foot Clan.
I think that's possible. But getting into that, one night while leaving the station, April is mugged by a group of thieves. I think a guy jumps down from her van and is like, "Nice night," or something like that. And she gets jumped by a bunch of these guys, and then boom, the light goes out. Let's see. So she is saved by unseen vigilantes. And I got it. I don't remember seeing this movie for the first time, but I think deep stored, there are some, like, it is cool how, like, the Ninja Turtles at this point are a mega hit. Like, the cartoon is everywhere. We're in Turtle Mania. And so, like, this movie does a really good job of, like, we're not going to show them to you yet. It's quick. It's a 90-minute movie, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But, like, compare especially to, like, the sequels that are extremely kid-friendly. It's like, no, you got to wait for a second.
Oh, no. This movie could have been phoned in, and it is most certainly not.
That is what's most impressive about the movie. It shouldn't... I'm not saying it's a great movie. I'm saying it's not as good as it should. It shouldn't be as good as it is.
Right. No, they could have, especially for based on a cartoon that was based on a toy that was based on a comic. Like, they could have just taken the check and put something shitty out, which they eventually will do.
Right.
But this is actually people trying to make a movie that's entertaining, and they mostly succeed, in my opinion.
It's directed by Steve Barron, who is mostly known for the "Take on Me" video by Aha.
Oh, all right. We're burying the lead though, because in that opening crime montage, we get our first glimpse of future Oscar winner Sam Rockwell.
Oh, is that Sam? I know he's in the movie later.
Okay, I was like, you didn't know that?
Oh no,
Yes.
I know he's in the movie. I didn't know that
He's
was him
in the
there.
opening montage at some point, and I was like, wait, did I already know that he was in this? I think I did, but it was like, oh yes, young Sam Rockwell.
He is in this movie. I guess that is him. I guess so. Yeah, that would actually make them foot. So yes, that would
also,
make
you know
April the
who's-
first eyewitness.
You know who's not phoning it in? Sam Rockwell.
No, bringing it,
No, he brings it.
bringing it.
I didn't realize
brings
that was him, but the moment really stood out to me when just a generic bad guy was like, "Do you want regular cigarettes or you want menthol?"
Yes, that's
This
Sam
guy's
Rockwell.
going
Yeah.
places.
So it is revealed that oh man, the scene is so good. So we get April gets mugged. A weapon like goes and knocks out the street light, and we see April like taking it and like kind of what's this, and we see the first glimpse of a fucking Ninja Turtle down from the sewer, and we just hear like oh man.
Your sigh will cut.
It is revealed that her rescuers, once again, just real good. Like they're coming around the corner, you see the shadows, and just as they're about to turn the corner, boom, title screen. Like, no, you have to wait even an extra second. It's so good. But they are, of course, 4 anthropomorphic turtles, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Leonardo, Donatello, Michelangelo, and Raphael, the latter of which lost his sai in the fray, which April discovers and takes with her.
Can we talk about the Ninja Turtles' voices?
Oh, yeah.
I'm wondering how Raphael has a Brooklyn accent and Michelangelo has a Southern California accent.
Yep.
He's a surfer dude.
And how any of them got accents because they were just raised by a rat.
Right, a rat with like kind of a Japanese.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very much so. Yeah. I don't know where did they watch TV? They must
That's
have.
They watch a lot of
Oh,
TV.
that's the answer.
There you go.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
watch TV and they just picked what voices they like.
There you go.
Plot hole filled.
Okay, the group returns to their secret lair in the sewers and to their master, an anthropomorphic rat named Splinter, who presses the importance of being unseen. Some of Splinter's dialogue here is directly out of the original comic TMNT #1.
Oh, that's awesome.
The Splinter is puppeted. I will say, fantastic puppetry all around. This is Jim Henson Studios. Jim Henson would describe these as the most advanced puppets he's ever
The Splinter especially is impressive. The Splinter puppet.
Yes,
Yeah.
that just looks like a real rat
Yes.
man.
Yes.
If I saw that I would be like, that's a rat man,
And obviously today they would do it with CGI, and they did.
right?
And I got to tell you, not as convincing as the puppets
100%.
in this scenario.
That puppet is operated and voiced by Kevin Clash, who
Just
would
one guy?
one guy. I don't know if there weren't assistants there, but primarily operated by Kevin Clash, who would go on to create Elmo.
Whoa.
That is Elmo's puppeteer, who would also maybe be a little undone by going to Hawaii with a boy who was not 18. He doesn't do
did?
Elmo anymore.
I kind of remember that.
Yeah,
Is he the guy? He's the guy that's been doing it ever since. There was like a documentary on.
it's
Oh,
that
God.
all of that stuff came out shortly after that documentary about Kevin Clash came out.
Damn.
That was like people making Tickle Me Elmo jokes probably after that, right? Like
Yeah.
late night hosts making.
A lot of that.
I vaguely remember, yeah.
Yep. But all that aside, it's a very
But
good.
he was an awesome rat man. In this.
Yeah, I think it's important to separate the art from the artist.
It's important to separate the rat man from the man.
Yes. Mhm. We regularly talk about a show which stars a the second in command of a major sex cult.
Ah,
Who is currently serving time in prison.
well,
It's
thank
true.
you for your service.
So Raph, upset after losing his weapon, argues with Leonardo and storms out to a movie while the others enjoy takeout pizza. I'm going to have you guys riff while I go pee.
Oh, all right.
This is one that I so do we know what movie he saw? Did I miss that? Or he just like
Oh,
went
yeah.
to the theater?
He saw Critters,
Okay.
the movie Critters, and he was walking out like, "Oh, what a piece of shit." He like comments like, "That was what did he say? Where do they come up with this stuff or something?"
Okay.
Have you ever seen Critters?
I don't think I have actually.
Me either.
What,
No.
what year is that? I guess like 89 or 90. If this came out in 90, was Critters like a big hit of 1989?
Let's see. I don't know if it was a big hit of any year, but let's see when it came out.
Yeah.
Let's
Just
see.
knowing that like like Splinter's already shooting out lines from the comics, like now I got my eye out for some like meaningful Easter eggs here.
Oh, so he saw Critters. That movie came out in '86, so he saw it in. He saw the second run of Critters.
Yeah. Or just like a real cheapo discount theater that like just got the reels 4 years later.
The original film Critters received 2 thumbs up from Siskel and Ebert.
Wow.
What is
That talk about a nostalgia bomb, man. I mean, everything about this movie, but hearing Siskel and Ebert, man,
Do you know what Critters is about?
no.
Okay, let's see. The plot follows a group of small furry aliens with carnivorous behavior escaping from 2 shape-shifting bounty hunters landing in a small countryside town to feast on its inhabitants. Why haven't we had a Critters remake yet? This sounds fantastic.
I've never
Brian,
seen Critters.
While you were gone,
neither
the
have we.
podcast has completely changed, and we're talking Critters now.
Welcome to Crittercast, baby.
That was the movie Raphael was watching.
Right. Right. To which I believe his review is, ugh, where did I come up with this stuff?
Yeah. Where did we come up with this stuff?
Sentient critters? Oh, I guess maybe that's the joke, right? 'Cause
Yeah,
is he
probably.
a critter? I get it now.
That's probably like they had the rights to it, and it's the closest.
Right.
It's either this or like they're like, okay, we can make a joke about critters, or like Howard the Duck.
Yeah. Samurai Pizza Cats.
Stuff like Howard the Duck is why this movie had a lot of trouble getting distribution. Disney turned it down, despite like Ninja Turtles being Turtle Mania, like everywhere. Everyone was worried. Like Howard the Duck tanked, Masters of the Universe tanked. Nobody wanted
Not
this like
in
comic.
my house. Master of the Universe did not tank.
I've
in my
never
house.
seen it.
Oh, it is. Oh, you have to watch it, Brian.
Great.
Because it is just the opening scene alone steal from Superman, the style of the credits. The opening, like the music is Star Wars, like a Star Wars scene right off the bat. Oh, it's just watch Masters of the Universe. That's the next one we're doing.
Great.
Well, speaking of Star Wars, maybe I'll get to this when we hit this beat, but like there was something about it that felt to me, I was like, they're cribbing something about Star Wars. There's something here that's welling up Star Wars in me. But then, I don't know, man, Shredder just literally says a Darth Vader line. Like, I think he literally
says, "I am your father."
Yeah.
Yes.
Says the line.
Yeah.
Which, fine. Earned,
definitely strong Darth Vader vibes from Shredder.
Big time. Before we move on, we were talking about the voices, and I would like to give a quick. Michelangelo is played by Robbie Rist, who is probably best known as Cousin Oliver on the Brady Bunch. The young cousin that they brought in, and is kind of the beginning of the cliche that like a show brings in a youth to spice it up. He was Cousin Oliver. Donatello is of course voiced by Corey Feldman.
Oh, I didn't even know that. That's great.
Yeah, Corey Feldman, of course, Stand By Me and various sad YouTube videos.
Also Goonies, right?
Also Goonies. I will say I actually really like Donatello in this movie. I thought...
Oh,
like
He's the best one.
does machines translated to like gearhead, I think is like really good.
Sure.
And I think he's got a lot of really good lines. I actually really, really like him as Donatello in this movie. Let's see.
Corey Feldman. I went to Corey Feldman's birthday one year.
What?
But only because he threw a large party. It was this big like outdoor movie viewing, and where we watched like Goonies. I think it was like a back-to-back, like Goonies and some other Corey Feldman vehicle, and also his band played.
Oh no, like the one that went viral?
I think so. He went viral for like a weird music video in like a weird like rented mansion, I think.
Yeah.
This was a little bit, I think it was a little bit more rock than that one, but I also haven't watched that in a while. But anyway, technically I went to Corey Feldman's birthday party with like a couple hundred other people.
That's insane.
But I like him, man. The more, I mean, it's a bummer that he's a butt of a joke because like
I think he had it harder than a lot of people. I think he's had it tough. Is the thing, and like that makes it not fun to like make fun of him, you know, of
sure,
like
it's
for all the cringe, it's like he's had it hard, man.
Yeah. Now I feel bad too about making jokes about stunting the growth of child actors because in many ways that was certainly happening in the 70s and 80s.
Absolutely. But moving on to Ninja Turtles, Brian Tachi is the voice of Leonardo. He was in Revenge of the Nerds and Police Academy. And then let's see, what's his name? Josh Pies is Raphael. He is the only one that was both the voice and the man in the suit. All of the people who were in the suits appear in the movie, and I will point them out as we get to them.
That's awesome. I love this movie so much now. I always liked it, but they do some really cool, like...
It is a labor of love, I think. And I think the labor of love elements make up for any sort of weaknesses otherwise. So to that point, the pizza delivery guy, I gotta get another route, and I thought I delivered everywhere. That's the guy in the Michelangelo suit, not the voice, but that's the guy who operated the suit.
By the way, they don't tip that fucking guy.
No, they do not.
That's fucked up.
It's fucked up.
I get he was late, and so the price is lower, but you could still throw a few bucks that guy's way.
100%. 100%.
Something you don't learn when you're raised in the sewer, I guess. Can I chat if there's anyone still listening? Just let us know if you've seen this movie or have any like experience with Ninja Turtles at all. I'm curious.
Yeah, I'm also curious. Okay. Afterward. So Raphael has stormed out. And let's see. He encounters a hockey-masked vigilante named Casey Jones, accosting a pair of bag snatchers in the park, and intervenes due to Casey's more violent methods. This is straight out of the comic, Raphael #1. It's basically Raphael gets into a fight with Michelangelo, and Casey Jones is kind of meant to be an example of like what'll happen to Raphael if he doesn't get his shit together. Because Casey goes too extreme. But here's the thing: Casey Jones is cool, so they kept him around.
He's the fucking coolest character in the movie. I fucking love Casey Jones. I do think it's weird that he doesn't realize. He doesn't seem to notice that it's a giant turtle until like a few minutes into their altercation.
Right. It's how does the scene go? So like it's Raphael basically chases these two guys into the park. Casey stumps in and he's gonna beat the shit out of him. You did your job, now I'm gonna teach these punks a lesson. And then Raphael's hat falls off. He's in a trench coat and a hat like they are in the cartoon. And what are you, some kind of punker? Man, I hate punkers.
God, yeah. That's probably my least favorite line of dialogue.
What's a punker? What's a punker?
Unclear.
Something you don't want to be.
You don't want to be around Casey Jones.
It was like a 35-year-old. It was like if I had to write a movie today about some like huge TikTok trend, I would definitely get it wrong. I would definitely add an ER at the end of it.
Who plays him in the new movies, which I haven't seen? Isn't it the guy from Arrow who
It's
plays
Steve
Casey Jones?
Amell. It's only in the second one. In that movie, Steve Amell plays a character named Casey Jones.
Oh, it's not the same?
No, nothing about him is Casey Jones.
Why would you fuck with that?
Nothing. Let me put it.
It's
Nothing
so
about those
awesome.
movies is Ninja Turtles.
So, didn't Ryan Reynolds voice him in the cartoon or something? Not the cartoon, but the movie, the CGI movie?
No, Chris Evans. It was Chris Evans.
Yes. Sorry.
And I actually like that movie. "Quote unquote," like I understand what it is, but like I like it. I like Ninja Turtles, and it's Ninja Turtles. You know?
Are they currently doing another one right now, like a new one?
There are 3 projects happening right in August. A movie directly tied to the latest cartoon is coming out on Netflix. Seth Rogen is apparently working on an animated one. Casey and Colin Jost are writing something that Bay is producing.
Huh.
So there are 3 projects in the work. Right? One's coming out.
We're right ahead of when this resurgence is going to happen with Ninja Turtles.
That said,
Clearly.
well, we are on a video game just came out that's very good. Shredder's Revenge. And then the Cowabunga collection is coming out soon.
I saw that. I had a couple of those games. I think it was, I can't remember which one it was, but it was on Nintendo, and it was fucking dope.
Fucking dope. Okay. So Raphael loses Casey when Casey knocks him into a garbage can with a cricket bat. One of the best lines in the fucking movie. So basically, Casey and Raphael are kind of sparring. Casey's going through his whole like golf club of little like homemade weapons, and Casey takes out a cricket bat and it's like, "Cricket? Cricket? You gotta know what a crumpet is to understand cricket."
That line caught my attention also because at first I was like, what a dumb line. Wait a minute, I kind of like that. It's like, well said. And definitely as a kid, I'd probably heard the word crumpet before. No idea what cricket was, and it rings true.
And doesn't Casey Jones, when he knocks him in the trash can, say like 6 points or something
It
like
was like
that?
2 runs.
Yeah. That's funny. I really love in that scene, he chases after him and he gets hit by a cab. The cab driver is fucking great. A great moment by the cab driver.
And okay, so the scene goes, there's a guy in the back of the cab who is Josh Pais, who is Raphael, both the voice and puppeteering. What the heck was that? Zach, do you remember the line the cab driver has?
I just remember the cab driver is like, "Look like a giant turtle," and he's like, just changes the subject right after that, right?
It's look like a giant turtle in a trench coat. You're going to LaGuardia, right?
Yeah, it's just like a New York cabbie scene at all.
Yeah, it's great.
Great.
So that scene follows. So Raphael's chasing Casey, rolls over the cab. We get that scene, and then we get a shot of the skyline, and Raphael going, "Damn!" And I remember thinking that was so adult. This is a grown-up movie for grown-ups.
It definitely has the texture of a grown-up movie. It's
Yeah.
like definitely a kids movie,
Yeah.
but that's the kind of thing like we're missing these days for kids movies. I think is like
Even the slightest bit of edge.
yeah, yes,
Great way to put it. Yeah, I mean, look, like Minions are just like literally baby toys with like little like like inside jokes that adults might get once in a while. Yeah, man, give me some like dirty doors and shit like this movie.
yeah, exactly.
It's like
some
just-
grime.
I remember as a kid, the movie feeling grown up because like they say "damn" twice and then "bitchin" once later, like, which is very silly. But I don't know, some edge.
I mean, they knew their audience. You can't, you got to give them that. They made a young Brian Miller.
They did.
feel like a big boy, and he fell in love with the franchise for life.
April runs afoul with Police Chief Stearns, blaming him for not following up on rumors of a group of thieves known as the Foot Clan. However, a mysterious figure orders April silenced.
Yeah, that scene is Shredder sitting in the dark watching 20 different TVs show the same
Yep.
If you ever find yourself sitting in the dark watching 20 different TVs show the same program, chances are you're a villain.
Yep. And then he throws a dagger or some sort of sharp ninja implement at one of the televisions with April O'Neil's face, which then breaks through the glass but still proceeds to like staticky show the image, which isn't how that would work.
Look, in the next decade, that's going to be how they're going to sell us more TVs, and they're going to call it Fly Vision. I'm not evil. I just like to be surrounded by the same image 20 to 30 times.
I guess that is actually a thing that happens nowadays in most people's homes, except for it's different programs on 20 different things.
Right. So a mysterious figure orders April silenced. That I'm here to deliver a message is the guy in the Donatello suit.
Awesome.
I assume he's
So
not
happy
showing
for
his
these
face.
guys.
And he slaps her,
Yeah.
gives her a little smack.
Hey, it was filmed in the 80s, and in those days that was fine.
It was a message.
It was a message. Okay. Orders April silence.
Wait, I'm sorry. You guys live in New York, both of you?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Is there ever a time anywhere in the city where you will go down and a subway platform will be no one else there but you?
I will say at certain times I don't know about Manhattan. Yes, it has happened.
Yeah,
Where
every once
you
in a
went
while, and especially if it's like later and I just missed a train, I think that's a plausible scenario where I'd be the only one for at least a little bit.
It's not
Wow.
it's
All
not
right.
entirely insane. Yeah.
Okay, great. Long enough for you to get mugged by a gang of ninjas?
We didn't say that.
Potentially.
Maybe like people started walking down the stairs and they're like, "Oh shit, I think there's ninjas down there. Let's."
Oh god, it's New York in the 80s and ninjas are everywhere. So later that night, April is ambushed on the subway and knocked unconscious before Raphael reclaims his weapon and fights them off. Here is a really dumb, nerdy thing as we talk about this dumb, nerdy movie.
Yeah, it's a Smallville podcast where we're talking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's fine.
It's a little puppetry thing. So like they cut to Raphael. He's got both of his weapons back, and he's got this like grimace on his face as he fights the guys. The puppetry on the faces, I think, was less like malleable. So there were multiple heads, one with like a very angry expression. Later, in later sequels, I think some of the puppetry would like have more expressions, but they were all worse. Of like, I think it was better to just have that one shot with the angry head.
Yeah. More time is spent on the anger creases.
Right.
Here's a question, Brian. So there's that like iconic picture of one of the turtle suits like just having dry rotted away, and it looks horrifying.
Yes.
Do you know what I'm talking about? Is that from this movie? I guess I imagine so.
I don't know. I think it's from one of the sequels, but I don't know.
Got it.
I think I did know at one point, but
even decades after the character is dead, just it looks so real and scary. Just the skin pulling back and exposing the teeth. These things are so well made that even when they're rotting away,
they're wildly. I mean, Jim Henson. They didn't have Jim Henson. I mean, Jim Henson died probably 2 months after they finished filming. Or no, the movie came out probably after it came out. But they did not work with Henson's people again, I think, in the series. And it shows in the puppetry.
One thing I noticed in the scene where Raphael is fighting off with his size is that, and this is true for Leonardo, neither of them actually use their weapons.
Of course not.
In the entire movie. The nunchucks and a staff? What does he have?
A bow staff.
A bow staff. They use those because you
Right.
can use those without stabbing someone.
Right.
But the other two don't seem to use their weapons as they were meant to be used at any point in the movie.
Do you guys know in Europe what the most controversial Ninja Turtle weapon was?
Nunchuck.
It was the nunchucks. The nunchucks were
Probably because little kids wanted to use
I guess so.
nunchuck.
I don't know. But
I had so many nunchucks as a kid. Because they sold them as toys.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I was
But they were,
one of them.
soft. They were soft, but still, you could
Yeah.
whack the shit out of someone with them.
Yeah. I
In-
was never allowed to have any sort of guns growing up. And I remember a poster painting a real picture of my childhood, the poster that said, like, don't give children war toys. And so so nunchucks count as war toys, because that was another on the list of things I can't have. You never whip around.
It's so
some
funny,
nunchuck
like
moves.
compared to like the swords, but in Europe, all the scenes where Michelangelo's using his nunchucks are edited out of the movie.
Stop it.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's-
well, and the cartoons also, there's something where they like oh wait, no, I think it was in the UK. They weren't called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. What were they called?
Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles.
Hero Turtles. Right, yeah.
Because
So
I
they
mean,
went-
like think about it. Of like ninja has such like a like very gentle connotation now, probably because of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
True, yeah.
But like it is kind of the equivalent of saying Teenage Mutant Assassin Turtles, which
Yeah.
is maybe weird, I guess,
Yeah.
in theory.
But it's funny, Brian, you say that like you said it jokingly that like New York was like taken over by ninjas, but like that was the reason that they wouldn't say ninja in the UK version, because they thought that it was like the D&D like Satanic Panic in America. The UK had their version and it was ninjas.
You guys continue without me for a minute.
Great. Okay, so Raphael takes April back to their lair. He fails to realize he's being followed. When April awakens, she is introduced to the group and becomes friends with them after learning their origins about being mutated by a strange glowing green ooze that had fallen into the sewers. This is directly out of the first comic. Basically,
That's great.
everything we get there is directly out of TMNT #1. There are several disconcerting little Ninja Turtle puppets.
Oh my god, and their little montage of how they grew.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were a little bit too small, so like the movements were like just a little too shaky, and they were wet. It was
I will say most of the puppets are wet for some reason.
yeah.
And there is
Yeah.
nothing I trust less than a wet puppet.
Wet puppet. Oh man, somebody's job is to spritz them down for sure.
So we were talking about Harrison Ford. There is a line in here where April is being assured that what she's seeing is not a dream, and she says, "Why don't I dream of Harrison Ford?" Because he is the most handsome, charismatic man alive.
Yeah, that line would work perfectly today.
Right?
There was a couple times where I was like tempted to like I was like making a bookmark in my brain to make a joke where like you can't make this movie today, but like nothing really ever hit me. It was all very just like so earnest that like
I think
all the
that's
jokes.
kind of it. It's like, don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. I don't know if the movie is the most sensitive to like the Japanese American community.
Yes, that wasn't great.
It's not great, but also I don't think the entire 80s ninja fascination that birthed the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in the first place was.
Sure, right? Yeah.
This problem goes all the way up, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So April becomes friends with the Turtles. They take April home, stay with her for a time. There is I remember any time here in New York City where I pass Bleecker Street, I go, 11th and Bleecker? Nope, this is only 9th Street. Which is a lie. It's the joke is Michelangelo can tell walking through the sewers by the smell of shit.
Yeah, he sniffed it. That's what I was
Right.
trying to wonder if it was like the street smell or if it was like the type of shit.
Yeah, no, it's like 11th Bleecker? Nope, this is only 9th Street.
Oh man. Okay, that's really funny then. I thought it was like, oh, like at 11th Street there's like a pizza place or something. But no, it's like he knows what his neighbor's shit smells like.
But they reach April's the shop that April runs, that is also her apartment. And as they're getting out of the sewer, April says that I invite you guys up, but the only thing I have is a frozen pizza. And then we get a very funny visual gag of Michelangelo like, let's go for it. I really like it. I think it's a good visual gag. There's a cartoony little
Yeah.
because
There
they're
was
Ninja Turtles.
that-
They like pizza.
That's what I'd heard. I'd never known that, dude. I don't know if there's an appropriate time in the recap of this movie, but I would love to talk about the toys sometime. But anyway, I had a toy that shot pizzas out of a weird little gun.
Oh, weird. I think I think I'm vaguely familiar with that. Was it just the gun?
I think it was either a gun or it might have like been an attachment on one of their shells.
Oh,
they
got
could lean
it.
forward and shoot it.
Got it. That makes sense. Because they would make the pizzas and then sling them into the backpack.
Yeah, and pizza's not a war toy. So I was allowed to play with it.
So they take April home, stay with her for a time, only to return to find their den has been demolished and that Splinter is missing.
That moment was so loud that when was it Donatello?
It's Raphael.
Raphael? That's what I said. When he yelled, I was like embarrassed. I was like, I feel like my neighbors might have heard that, and it scared me. The same way the visual cue and the noise of Michelangelo being like pizza was like nice, funny. This one like filled me with dread briefly.
I actually think it's a good moment. It's they come home, they realize that something is wrong. They realize their den has been sacked. Their father is missing, and Raphael has a very emotional reaction. And I'm impressed with the reaction on the puppet.
Honestly, in terms of characters yelling no at the heavens shots, it's like not even close to the top 100 most embarrassing.
I agree.
Yeah.
Of those. I mean, there's way more embarrassing versions of that.
I agree.
And then punctuated by the man wandering over top of the sewer grate, just being like, huh? That's New York for you.
Once again, I'm just impressed by those fucking puppets, and like, I don't know, Raphael especially, like, I believe is feeling things, you know, that's a walking turtle man.
Anakin Skywalker energy,
right? They return. With nowhere to go, they return to April's place, and there's a very good, like, they open, and it's all just the turtles looking like wet puppies. Like, Splinter.
Can we crash with you?
Yeah. Our dad was kidnapped by ninjas. Can we hang out?
Poor rat dad.
Okay. Chief Stearns finds that they had arrested April's boss, Charles Pennington's son, Danny, for stealing, and uses him as leverage to get April to loosen up about the Foot Clan. In the morning, Charles warns her, while Danny becomes suspicious when he thinks he sees Michelangelo. It's a good classic, like, looking over there, and then, oh, they're gone.
Charles, my man, has a borderline inappropriate relationship with his employee.
Mm-hmm.
Showing up at her house a lot.
Yep. A few too many times, Charles.
Yeah. Showing up uninvited to her house.
And just poking around her house.
Yeah. No.
Deeply uncomfortable. Like, it's so weird. Like, maybe this is just, I don't know if it's a sign of the times, okay, or if it's like movies versus real life, but I would feel uncomfortable letting a person I just met and was friendly with come in and use my bathroom, let alone him and his 3 brothers come in and just live with me. Would never be cool with my boss showing up to my apartment with his kid. Totally inappropriate. This is my sanctuary.
While you're in your bathroom, by the way.
Yeah. And having to even be like, oh, I didn't want you to see the poop stains in my bathtub. Will that get you out of here? Like, it wasn't poop stains, but
it was in a quote unquote unsightly bathtub ring, which
right,
I don't know what. I don't know. Maybe poop does cause bathtub rings. I don't know. While Charles takes Danny to school, they get into an argument, and Danny runs away to the lair of the Foot Clan, where a large portion of the city's teenage and outcast populace has been welcomed. This is, of course, I remember the establishing shot of the warehouse, and this is what we got. That sound cue, I know, just
Is that Hammer?
It could be. It could be.
I was going to say there's a few things going on in that scene that would never happen in a movie today. One is MC Hammer is on the soundtrack. And the other one is that there is a kid smoking a fucking cigar in this hideout. A little kid.
Yeah.
I did not catch that. I love that.
Oh, man.
It's Sam Rockwell is walking two kids through the warehouse where all the wayward teens are becoming ninjas. That's once again where some tonal shifts of this movie is. Hey, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say that I love that scene. That was like maybe my favorite scene, or at least my favorite establishing shot, because like, and again, talking about Stranger Things earlier, with Stranger Things and what every movie and TV show that just makes a play for nostalgia does is like, they just like make a list of things, bullet points they got to hit, and they like figure out how to make it happen. This movie, you could tell they loved skateboards. They loved arcades.
Right.
They loved menthol cigarettes. Like these, they actually made them cool, you know? Like,
right.
It just felt so authentic.
The Foot Clan hideout were like, it's just like smoking and partying and then like doing ninja practices is basically what I think conservatives imagine Antifa is doing.
Yeah.
Like right now,
Wow.
like just like doing like fighting practice, playing games, smoking, partying, children. Like I live in Portland. That's what they think Portland is.
Oh, dude, 100%.
Just everywhere you go, it's that. It's the Foot Clan from Ninja Turtles.
Sam Rockwell is walking two boys through. He's like, hey, whatever you want to do it. And then one of the kids is like, you got any cigarettes? And Sam Rockwell picks up two cartons, like regular or menthol.
They made it look cool. Was it supposed to look cool? It must have been, right?
I thought it was cool.
Sick.
I mean, I think this is before they weren't allowed to sell cigarettes to kids anymore. Because I remember when I was a kid, they had candy cigarettes.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Which you could go buy. Yeah. Now they are candy sticks.
Right.
Yeah.
When their leader, the Shredder, we got a big Darth Vader entrance there, announces their search for the turtles, Danny speaks up. I actually think the Shredder scene here is effective at least from a kid's perspective of like, that's the fucking Shredder, man.
Oh, and the outfit is dope.
Right. I can't imagine going into this cold. Like, I certainly when I saw this movie, I was aware of all of the Ninja Turtle stuff, you know? I don't know if I didn't, but like, so like as a kid, I'm like, that's the fucking Shredder, man. And he's scary because he's in a fucking movie.
Can you imagine being such a badass that you have a second in command whose job it is to walk over and gently pull your cape above your blade on each side?
There's a job for everyone here at Shredder's Dungeon.
Both Shredder and Tatsu, his little cape friend, are dubbed over. And there's actually this might be a good time to talk with that. This movie, as much as I love it, as much as I think it is a labor of love, it did have some dark. It was not a union production, and those can be yikes. A lot of how this movie was able to be produced so cheaply was you carted in stuntmen from Hong Kong, and then the second they got hurt, they're back on the plane. No compensation. Judith Hoag, who plays April, would not return for the sequels, and it was largely the gross mistreatment of stuntmen.
Good for her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it was just, you got hurt, you're back on a plane, which is rough.
I actually never knew that this was an indie movie.
It until the Blair Witch Project, this was the most profitable independent film ever made.
So
Who
crazy.
funded this movie? Let me guess. Big Pizza?
Papa John.
Golden Harvest, a Chinese company.
Oh, so they,
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay, so let's see. April continues to antagonize Chief Stearns in her report while the Turtles get used to their new living situation. they're watching cartoons, and there's a bit where they're watching a Rocky and Bullwinkle Fractured Fairy Tales, Tortoise and the Hare, and Michelangelo goes, "Dude, that ninja kicked the damn rabbit." In high school, I had that because I was real cool. I had that written on my sneakers.
Oh my God.
Ninja kicked the damn rabbit.
Oh, that's great.
I didn't go on dates in high school.
Brian was spending his nights and weekends out in fields, ninja kicking damn rabbits. He was like one McDonald triad spoke away from being in some real trouble. Never once peed his bed, but if he did,
if I did, oh boy. Leonardo and Raphael get into a fight, and Raph goes to the roof to cool off while April takes the others on a tour of the thrift store below that she lives above. She explains it was her father's thrift store. Casey spots Raphael from the adjoining rooftop just in time for him to be ambushed by dozens of Foot Clan members. The battle becomes intense. Okay. As it's one of my other favorite quotes is as Foot Clan guys on the roof, Raphael taking him like, "Come on, how do you guys expect to beat me?" And there's a whole bunch of extra Foot Clan guys. Good answer.
That's some serious tood. That's some real New York tood.
The battle becomes intense when a beaten and unconscious Raphael is thrown through the skylight.
That's a concussion.
Basically, a big brawl starts happening in the antique store, and I actually think it's overall a pretty good scene.
Oh no, it's great. I love that whole set piece, and it keeps escalating.
Right.
So much so that at one point, one of the Foot Clan ninjas leaves, to the car, I guess, to get a bunch of axes.
Yes.
And it comes back in the room and starts handing them out to everybody. He's like, "I knew we were going to need these. That's why I fucking passed them."
You guys didn't think we were going to fucking need them, but I brought them.
You said we would need the axes. You rather have an axe and not need it.
Yeah. No, we said bring us guns, not axes.
Casey soon joins, and eventually a fire breaks out. I believe caused by one of the said axes. They
electrical cord. By the way, when Casey Jones shows up in that scene, I shoot my wad every time. It's the greatest. You've got like the electric guitar, and he's in silhouette, and he's like, "Well, you want to tell me what you're doing, my little green friend over there?" Oh,
there's a reason why Casey Jones is the best Ninja Turtles character.
I also appreciate it's not ironically. I love they all stop fighting and they're like, "Who the fuck is this guy?" Even the ninjas are like, "What's going on?"
I believe the line is, "Who's this guy? Wayne Gretzky on steroids?"
Yeah.
So a fire breaks out, and this forces the turtles to retreat as the building burns down. And honestly, once again, the set piece is great. And everyone's getting out of there. Casey Jones says that cool, "No, I'll take care of these guys. You guys get out of here."
Yes,
it's so
and
good.
Then once they escape and the cops start to show up, the second in command guy says, "Ninja vanish." Ninja vanish. In case they were just going to regular vanish. No, you need to ninja vanish here.
One guy's already halfway out the door.
He's like, "Oh, shit."
So as Casey's fighting guys off, Casey hears a message from Charles, April's boss, firing her.
Yeah, come on. Maybe that's when you could show up to the doorstep,
Right.
Yeah, exactly. You show up for every other reason, but you call to fire her. You coward. You fucking coward.
Hey, now that I'm not your boss, you want to go on a date?
Yeah.
Anyway,
Draz says in chat, "Hero vanish."
yeah.
Okay, so they go to April's abandoned family farm to recover. This is actually there are 5 maybe turtle storylines that come up over and over and over again. They suffer a loss and retreat to the farm is one of the ones that keeps coming up over and over and over again. And I like it every time.
I love the farm sequence. I love the farm
sequence. The 2012 Nickelodeon show, which is not the latest one, does like half of a season. They spend it at the farm. And you know what? It's good.
Yeah, at a certain point, that farm's not abandoned anymore.
I like the whole rom-com thing we got going on at the farm with Casey Jones and
it's
April.
like moonlighting.
Even though there's a scene where he forces a massage on her, which I didn't feel great about.
Yeah, we'll get into that in a second. I had my first sexual thoughts probably about that fucking scene.
Oh my god. Okay. All right. I'll let you take over.
Yeah, I love it when Michelangelo walks in.
Leo is racked with guilt over the argument he had with Raph and begins to meditate as Splinter taught him. Donatello and Casey bond over repairing an old truck. That I'm just going to put a pause in that right there. I really like Donatello and Casey's relationship. In the comics, that exact scene is with Raphael, which makes more sense. It's there. The movie, I do think suffers. I get it. The movie suffers a little bit by taking Raph out for a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know what I would do differently, but
there's only so much time for all these turtles.
I know.
They didn't know they were going to get a sequel. They had to.
100%. I completely agree. But it's like that scene is with Raph, and it makes more sense with Raph.
God, fuck. You know, if they made this fucking movie today, Casey Jones wouldn't even be in it till like the end credit sequence or something. And it'll be hinting at him.
Yeah.
Like Shredder's not in it either. Fucking establishing the turtles.
Right.
Wow, yeah.
So April documents the events by drawing sketches of the turtles. Eventually, Raph wakes from his coma, and the four begin training for their return. I really love everything going on in the farmhouse. I think the emotional beats hit for me. I
like when Casey Jones sits on the what is it, like not a rocking chair? What would you call that?
It's a swing. It's a porch swing. Yeah,
porch swing, and it breaks. It's great.
Mm-hmm. It's so good. Leo makes contact with Splinter through meditation and invites the others to join him. Splinter gives a farewell speech to them, a full like Obi-Wan Kenobi situation, professing his love for his sons, which spurs the four of them to return. It's by a campfire. They speak to Splinter. Kevin Clash gives a great monologue. I love that scene a lot.
Splinter's basically Yoda, but I saw this movie before I saw Star Wars, so I'm sure when I saw Star Wars, I was like, they're just ripping off Splinter. What the
hell? Meanwhile, Danny meets Splinter at the Foot Hideout and hears the story of how a violent ninja named Oroku Saki killed his master Hamato Yoshi, and he realizes that Saki and Shredder are one and the same. This is straight from the comic. It's so in the cartoon, Hamato Yoshi is Splinter. Hamato Yoshi flees to New York, gets caught in the ooze, and becomes Splinter. That is the 87 cartoon. The movie goes with the comics original with the he was a pet of Hamato Yoshi, and the rat becomes Splinter. Any iteration, it's a coin toss which way they go. I like both. I think they do different things.
You said the 87 cartoon. Explain that again. You said Splinter was Yoshi?
In the 87 cartoon, Hamato Yoshi flees Japan, goes to America, lives in the sewers, gets caught in the ooze, and becomes a giant rat man.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any fucking sense.
And it's a coin toss what modern iterations do. It's the IDW comics, which actually, if any of this by any chance is catching your interest in Ninja Turtles, and you're like, hey, I guess I want to see what this is about. The IDW comics that began in 2012 are very good, and they split the difference in a very interesting way. Those comics are still running. It's the longest running Ninja Turtles comic. I read it regularly, and it's really good. It's worth starting from the beginning. So, upon their return to the den, they encounter Danny hiding out. Feeling claustrophobic in the sewer, which is a half yikes, half it's pretty funny. Casey is not feeling comfortable in the sewer, to which Donatello goes, "You're a claustrophobic." To which Casey goes, "What are you I've never looked at another guy before."
Yeah, I mean, they are making fun of Casey Jones there, so that's why it's a half.
Let it slide. Yeah.
Yeah. Although we will not let the joke slide that they say while they're walking through the rain to get into the sewer, which is now I know what it's like to travel without a green card.
Yeah, yikes. It's the 90s. It's the 80s.
Yeah, that's a no-go.
Yeah.
That's a no.
Electric
I feel like it should. Oh, good.
Sorry, Electric Gauntlet says sometimes Shredder and Splinter are brothers. I'm not familiar with an iteration where that's literal. Correct me if I'm wrong. Sorry, Jesse, what were you saying?
Oh no, I just feel like it'd be funny if this movie had a disclaimer at the beginning saying this was filmed in the 80s.
Yeah.
Even in 1990, they were like, "Oh no, we should cut the immigration joke, right?"
Casey goes to sleep in the truck on the streets and spots Danny sneaking out after everyone's gone to sleep. He follows Danny where the Foot's hideout is and confronts him. Having learned that Shredder has ordered Splinter's extermination, the two rescue him and inspire a group of teens to leave with them. You call this down here and that down there a family?
Thank you. I was going to say just a great moment.
Great moment.
I think it's funny.
Family?
Well, yeah, I guess this is my chosen family. I think it's funny how like these kids are just being constantly brainwashed back and forth. You know? Because then, like, what happened? I don't know if in the sequels, do they, like, take care of these kids? Because it seems like these kids needed a home
Forgotten
and Shredder
about.
was giving them that.
Fully forgotten about.
Yeah, there's a middle ground where we give them a home that doesn't include, like, cigars and cigarettes.
Let them skateboard. Let them keep the arcade machine. I'm sure that was hard to get down there. But just take away the cigarettes.
Okay, let's see. He follows Danny blah, 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 to rescue him and inspire a group of teens to leave with them. The Foot Clan attacks the Turtles' hideout and are ambushed by them and April. Lots of concussions here.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Lots of head trauma. I believe there is a little bit, and it's implied that they're by the pile of ninja teenagers. It's Michelangelo is a little of this and a little of that, fighting the guys until they're under April, who beams them with a lead pipe.
Well, you know what? The Turtles are teenagers too, though, so it's a fair fight.
Great point. Yeah. The fight eventually spills into the streets. I love the score here. I don't know.
It's so great.
It's so 90s. But it's like this electronic synthy wail, and I love it. Then up to a roof where they encounter the Shredder, who like falls down from a poo.
I don't know where he falls from. There are no taller buildings.
Right.
The four-story skyscraper that New York.
I was just gonna say, yes, I wrote that down also. Where does he drop from?
Right.
He just jumped really high.
Yeah.
I have to take a quick piss break before we get to the ending here. I'm so
no,
sorry.
We're not gonna know what happens. Let's speculate on Brian's piss break.
I bet he's gonna piss.
I bet you're right. Hey, we're in agreement. This did feel very. It felt this part felt very like video gamey, and I don't know when had the video games come out yet. Had any? I imagine by 1990 had to have been at least one.
When was Nintendo around by 90? Yeah, definitely.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, I'm sure then. I don't know actually, but I know there was a big arcade game.
Yeah,
Ninja Turtles arcade game.
must have been big in the 80s. But yeah, just something about this, like the whole lead up to the climax is like, all right, you got the whole Foot Clan you're gonna face, and then they like hit Shredder like one after the other, and they just get take it out until they all fight together as a team, or
Yeah. I also appreciate that the climax of the movie is like the turtles are just chilling at home and they get attacked.
True,
Like,
yeah.
They didn't have to go do anything really. They just got attacked and then they fight. They got bad guys again. Question in chat: did y'all have a favorite turtle growing up? I think everyone's when you were growing up was Michelangelo.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And then in my teenage years, it was Raphael. And now as an adult, I prefer Donatello.
I've never moved on from Michelangelo.
Brian, favorite turtle growing up?
Raphael.
Oh, wow. As a kid, it was Mikey, and then it was Raphael in my teenage years. And as an adult, it's Donatello.
I know I was always Raphael. My brother was always Leonardo. And as an adult, I have the very, very strong opinion of don't make me pick.
Leonardo.
I know.
It's like being a fan of Cyclops.
I did. There was a tweet of something like, kids who were into Leonardo all grew up to be cops.
I think there's definitely something like with these characters and franchises like this when you're a kid. It's like, well, all the other ones are taken, so
I think that was a large part of it.
Ooh, Brian, let's do Smallville characters. Which Ninja Turtle are they?
Ooh.
Clark is Leonardo.
Clark is
sure,
Leonardo. Right? Lex is Raphael.
Clark is both Raphael and Leonardo. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I meant Lex. Pete is one of the side characters off to the edge who is reacting to a Ninja Turtle.
No, Pete's like Pete's got either Mikey or Donatello energy when he's on the screen.
I guess that's fair.
Yeah. Lana.
All right, we're in the home stretch here. Splinter makes his way onto the roof and confronts it. So there's a good scene here where Shredder takes out everybody, fights everybody. There's a good line where they all huddle up, and Donatello's like, "Who's gonna tell this guy that we're the good guys?"
Oh, I love it when it cuts back to them and they're like in a huddle, all out of breath. And Mikey goes, at exactly what point did we lose control here? Great line.
Great line.
Great. Yeah.
So they and it's actually, I think, a really good moment. Leonardo's the only thing I know for sure is this guy knows where Splinter is, and they all charge. And Shredder takes Leo down, points a spear at his throat. And goes basically negotiates with the turtles to get them to throw their weapons away, and then mocks them because the three of you maybe could have got me if you lost one, and now you're all idiots and I'm gonna kill him. And then Splinter shows up.
My man.
Splinter makes his way to the rooftop and confronts him. After Shredder lunges at him, Splinter dodges and dangles him from the ledge. Basically, Splinter has the Mikey's nunchucks that got Chekhov's nunchucked onto the ladder earlier. Manages to tangle Shredder up into him and has Shredder dangling off the roof. He tries once more to kill Splinter, forcing him to let go. Shredder falls into the back of a garbage truck, and Casey activates the compress, crushing him.
Great line reading by what is it, Elias Koteas? How do you say his name?
I'm not sure.
When he just goes, oops, it's so great.
And you see the compressor coming down on the helmet, which I'm going to throw out there is a little extreme for basically a guy who's stealing some TVs.
Yeah.
He's corrupting the youth.
Right.
He's corrupting the youth. But there's also Casey is so casual about brutally murdering a mob boss, an active mob boss. He's still got henchmen, very much active.
Right.
I would think twice about killing the guy.
Right. Killing someone by trash compactor is a brutal way to kill someone.
It's now what I'd be interested in. Do you guys know how TMNT #1 ends?
Wait,
You'll
this
be
movie?
surprised to
Oh, no,
learn.
The comic, the original comic, which like they made not intending to make another one. It just made money. So like that was a complete story. But it's very much the same. They meet Shredder on the rooftop. They have a history, and like all that history is going to end tonight. It ends with Leonardo throwing his katana down and basically telling Shredder to commit seppuku. Which, and then when Shredder doesn't commit to an honorable death, Leonardo runs him through and stabs him.
They do use the swords in the comic, huh?
Yes. Oh, in those original comics, they get pretty fucked up. Like they go to space in issue 5. They're not as like dark and gritty as people say. But like no, they were meant for people their age, Eastman and Laird. But also there's something even more fucked up to me about a trash compactor.
It's so slow and it's claustrophobic and it stinks, presumably.
You know what? He didn't get killed, Brian.
He didn't get killed. You're right.
He comes back in the next one.
I had to imagine, yeah.
And he's gonna be Super Shredder soon.
Right.
So
that is true. That is true. So April is rehired by Charles to provide exclusive coverage on the story. There's a great scene. It's that I don't think Wikipedia is. Casey kind of moseys over to April and just sort of like, "Hey." April's like, "What do you want? I got a story to do." And Casey's kind of like, And April's like, "You gonna fucking kiss me or what?"
No, he complains because she's not worried about him.
Right.
And he's all injured.
Right.
By the way, the final needle drop fucking kills.
9.95.
T-G-U-R-T-L-E.
The got it, that one. Right. So April and Casey kiss, and then Donatello goes 9.95, which is as if he's rating it, but that's a song that's later in the credits. So the Turtles cheer them on. Danny reunites with his father, and the teenagers also turn themselves in and provide a location to Chief Stearns to the Foot Clan hideout. I believe Sam Rockwell says that it is East Lairdman Isle, which is Eastman and Laird created the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh, fun.
And then it finally, it's not in the Wikipedia. I can't believe they don't have it here in the Wikipedia, but they're on the rooftop and they're trying to come up with a fun phrase to say. And Raphael's is bitchin', totally tubular, dude. To which Splinter says, "I always liked cowabunga." And they cowabunga. And then we get that Turtle power.
I had forgotten about that song, and it just warmed my heart hearing it. So good.
Just maybe want to go out and find some no good wayward youth doing bad stuff in the subways and beat them up.
Give them concussions.
Final thoughts on I'm just gonna scan real fast to see if we have anything super interesting here. We nailed all of the cameos. We have all the voices.
Yeah. I liked it so much during this rewatch that I wanted to fire up the next one afterwards. And I still might. I've seen all three, but
I will say, I've never, I've always viewed, even as a kid, I thought Secret of the Used was a huge step down. Wasn't as big into it. This was the first, I watched it immediately after. And it was the first time I was able to just watch it as a live action episode of the cartoon. And like had enough fun with it. Basically, this movie was a huge hit. In 1990, it was sort of controversial because like it is kind of grimy, it is kind of violent, and parent groups were having none of that shit, and Secret of the Ooze dials it back a lot.
Oh man. I guess it was a good like long play because it's still today like a huge children's franchise. So, you know,
a new movie is coming out on Netflix August 4th, which I will be watching the day it comes out.
Ninja Turtles 3, I got to see an advanced screening of, and it was the highlight of my fucking life at that point. I was so stoked for that movie.
Would you like win like a BK Kids Club like contest or something?
My friend's mom got tickets. I'm not sure how, but
wow.
Oh, it was like
that movie sucks.
I didn't feel like it at the time.
Oh no, I liked it as a kid.
From him.
So I guess that's our show. Jesse, where can we find you on the internet?
Oh, yeah, check out like you mentioned earlier, check out youtube.com/cracked and take a look at Cannonball and Cracked Movie Club.
Hell yeah. Let's see. This is the Talon Mix. It's normally about Smallville, and we'll be getting back to that next week. Check out talonmix.show. That's talonmix.show for links to our Discord or Twitter, all of that stuff. We are running a dumb little drive. If you've listened this far into this podcast, leave a review on our like Apple iTunes page. Once we get 25, just 25 more people than that listen to this. So if we can just get 25 people to leave a review, Zach and I will watch Superman 4, The Quest for Peace, which neither of us have seen, but I've heard the legends that it's really, really bad.
I forgot what my question was.
Well, Zach, you're going to have to come up with another question.
I know. I was going to say, does it count if I leave a review on iTunes for our own show?
Depends if we get close.
Okay.
if we need it. Zach, do you have a question, though, for the Smallville gods?
Will the Quest for Peace be worse than the episode 0 of Smallville season 1?
Good night, everybody.